In Gautama Buddha's era, an emperor called Bimbisara conducted an yajna or sacrifice. Previously, animals were killed in the name of yajna. The king intended to earn merit by performing yajna. A lame lamb was being taken to sacrifice. As it could not walk fast, the shepherd kept whipping it. How can a lame lamb walk at the same pace as an ordinary sheep? Buddha saw this lame lamb getting whipped. He took it into his shoulders out of compassion. He told the shepherd, "I will bring this sheep to the yajna shala, where the yajna is conducted, carrying it on my shoulders. Please stop whipping it." In the yajna shala, each sheep was decorated with a tilak on the forehead and made ready for the sake of sacrifice. Why were they being decorated? It was not for the sake of honoring them. It was for the sake of chopping them. Then Gautama Buddha said, "O Emperor, O King of Kings, you are killing this lame lamb to earn merit." Unable to see the plight of this lame lamb, I carried it on my shoulders and brought it here. Please don't kill this lame lamb. Instead, kill me in its place. If you earn merit merely by killing an ordinary sheep, how much more merit should you acquire by killing a human being like me? So please earn merit by making these sacrifices. I won't stop you from earning merit. Instead of killing the lame lamb, kill me and gain more merit. When the intention is about earning merit by sacrificing various animals, how can such people secure jnana?
Once, when Buddha was preaching, he saw a devotee sleeping. Then Buddha told the devotee, "A person who eats or sleeps excessively cannot escape rebirth despite performing tremendous sadhana." Thus Buddha insisted on the middle path and prescribed moderate food and sleep. The devotee replied, "I am very fond of eating and sleeping. Eating more is my tendency. I cannot overcome it." Buddha then said, "I will instruct you with a mantra. Keep chanting that mantra. Then your overeating and oversleeping will come down." Look at Buddha's compassion here. He didn't think, "Why should I bother if someone overeats?" Instead, he felt, even that devotee should get liberated. The devotee replied, "As I am accustomed to overeating and oversleeping, likewise I am habituated to forgetfulness." Even then, Buddha did not leave him. Instead, Buddha asked him, "If any of your household members are present here, I will instruct them with the mantra so they can keep reminding you of that mantra." Such was Buddha's compassion.
Once, when Buddha approached a house for alms, the house owner criticized him. "You are spoiling the youth in the name of non-violence." Then Buddha replied, "Suppose you give me something in the form of alms, and I don't accept it. What are you going to do with it?" The owner replied, "I will take it back and keep it myself." Then Buddha replied, "Then I don't accept your offerings in the form of criticisms." Unacknowledged abuses return to the abuser.
Angulimal was a dacoit who lived in a forest. He not only looted thousands of people but also killed them. He used to decorate himself with a garland of thumbs cut from the fingers of such people. Hence he was called Angulimal. Anguli implies thumb, and mal refers to a garland. When Buddha was about to enter the forest where Angulimal lived, everyone tried to stop him. Buddha's disciples stayed back and did not accompany Buddha for fear of being killed. When Angulimal saw Buddha, he shouted at Buddha, "Stop there, stop there." Buddha heard those words and peacefully turned back and saw him. Buddha addressed him very lovingly as Angulimal and said, "I have stopped long back. But when are you going to stop? It is you who has to stop and not me. You have killed thousands of people. Do you think that you have conquered them? You could not kill your ego. Then what is it that you have attained?" By stating that, "I have stopped long back," Buddha implied that his mind has stopped and was annihilated very long back. That is, he attained the no-mind state. When Angulimal approached Buddha to kill him, Buddha glanced at Angulimal very peacefully. Suddenly and immediately, Angulimal became normal. He lost the very thought of killing others. Now how can he kill others? Angulimal was thus completely transformed. We narrate this incident as a miracle. However, Angulimal attained back the normal state. His brain became normal. Angulimal did not control his thought of killing others, but the thought of killing others itself did not arise within him. The brain is the seat of the mind. The brain of Angulimal became normal. Later, when Angulimal became the disciple of Buddha and remained in his holy company, he attained complete faith in Buddha and thereby achieved the state of nirvana.
Angulimal left his mortal frame even when Buddha was alive. The people near Buddha asked him if Angulimal would go to hell due to his previous evil deeds. Buddha replied, "Angulimal will go neither to hell nor to heaven as he attained the state of nirvana. Therefore all the karma of Angulimal got annihilated in the company of Buddha." Thus Buddha bestowed Angulimal with nirvana for having faith in him.
King Bimbisara had a beautiful wife named Ksema, who was very proud of her beauty. However, she was not fond of Buddha's preaching. Bimbisara was aware of the same. Once, Bimbisara invited Buddha to his garden, and Buddha accepted his invitation. Bimbisara asked Ksema to visit his garden and enjoy its beauty. But Ksema rejected the proposal, stating that Buddha resided in the garden. Then Bimbisara said, "You can visit the garden in the afternoon when Buddha goes out to take alms." Ksema agreed and visited the garden in the afternoon accordingly. However, while returning from the garden, she came face to face with Buddha. Buddha gazed at her peacefully. Both of them did not talk to each other. Ksema returned home. She was offended that Buddha did not praise her beauty. But Buddha's glance pursued her. She could not forget it. It is said that one look is enough. The eyes of Buddha were pure, peaceful, still, and flawless. Shaima was unable to forget the beauty of Buddha's eyes. Again and again, she was reminded of the same. She felt, true beauty exists only in the eyes of Buddha. How can I compare my physical beauty with the same? She thus attained a reformed mind. Her journey toward the beauty of the heart started with Buddha's single glance.
Once, a person came to Buddha. He was neither a devotee nor a spiritual aspirant. It was just his destiny that brought him to the presence of Buddha. However, he was a good person and crooked less at heart. On experiencing an unknown peace in Buddha's presence, he asked Buddha, "What is the effort required from my end to attain the peace experienced by you?" Buddha's heart overflowed with compassion upon listening to this question. Buddha turned towards him to give some instructions and realized that the person had a lifespan of just 1 more hour left. Buddha's compassion annihilated the tendencies of I and mine within him. By the time death approached him, he had attained the state of nirvana. He was crooked less in asking about the effort required to achieve nirvana. Buddha's heart filled with compassion due to his pure desire to attain peace. This is the fruit that a pure and crooked less desire begets in the presence of Guru. Therefore, this is a perfect instance to depict that nothing is impossible for the compassion of the Guru.
Once, a Hindu scholar visited Buddha and tried to argue with him. Buddha tried to answer all his questions. Despite arguing for over an hour, the peace on Buddha's face never faded. It only increased. Then the scholar prostrated to Buddha and accepted him as his master. Such was the tolerance of Buddha. There was no mud or dirt within him. Had it existed, it would have been expressed in the form of intolerance.
Once, a mother brought her child to Buddha. The child had several weaknesses. She expected that the child would get some instruction from Buddha to help him transcend his shortcomings. Hence she waited for 3 full days in such expectation. As there was overcrowding of devotees, she could not get the opportunity of meeting Buddha. So she went back home. However, Buddha himself went to her house after a few days and asked why she was visiting. Then she narrated to him the weaknesses of her child. Buddha asked the child to be brought before him, and the child was brought accordingly. Though the child had many shortcomings, he never had the weakness of telling lies. Buddha asked the child if he possessed all the flaws as told by his mother. The child replied negatively. Then Buddha said, "Your son died and took rebirth in this very body. All his weaknesses got annihilated in this process. Now he is left with no other weaknesses." The child waited 3 days for the sake of Guru. Waiting for Guru also represents spiritual effort. Due to the influence of Guru's presence, all the tendencies of the child were annihilated without even the knowledge of the child.
Once, a woman approached Buddha with the corpse of her child and prayed to him to bring life back into it. She was so distressed that all Buddha's efforts to console her became fruitless. Then Buddha asked her, "Bring a handful of mustard seeds from such a house where no death occurred. Only then can I bring back life into the child." She assented to the same and went to every house in that village seeking mustard seeds. But everywhere, people rejected her request, saying that someone or the other died in their home. Ultimately, she gained dispassion and realized that this sorrow was not limited to her alone. She felt that death is but a natural and inevitable process of nature, and hence she has to abide by the will of God. So Buddha asked her to bring the mustard seeds, only to bring about this change within her.
Once, a wealthy man approached Buddha and said, "My father expired recently. Please ensure that he attains higher worlds." Buddha asked him to bring a little ghee and a few stones. The rich man felt thrilled, thinking that Buddha would perform some ritual that would fetch higher worlds for his father. Buddha asked the rich man to put the ghee and stones in 2 bowls filled with water. Then Buddha asked him to ensure that the ghee, which has the nature of floating in the water, gets drowned, and the stones get floated, which has the nature of getting drowned in water. The rich man asked Buddha, "How is it possible?" Then Buddha replied, "It is impossible to either float the stones or drown the ghee in water. Similarly, had your father performed good deeds while being alive, none can stop him from reaching the higher worlds. Else none can take him to the higher worlds."
Once, a devotee asked Buddha, "When did ignorance take birth?" Buddha replied, "Suppose there is a thorn in your leg. Will you think about when, where, and why the thorn got into your leg, or try to remove the same?"
Once, Buddha visited a devotee's house on being invited. Rather than sitting on a chair, Buddha sat on the bed where the devotee slept. Everyone watching this felt, since Buddha was a king, he still possessed the tendency for material enjoyment. Therefore he sat on the bed. But Buddha did this only to satisfy the devotee. The devotee understood it correctly. However, it was only others who got deluded. A common person can't understand a holy man. Only a holy man can understand another holy man.
When his disciples asked Buddha why he wasted energy preaching to the worldly people, Buddha replied, "Let me sow the seeds now. Then, when the situations are favorable, growth will happen automatically. But, if I don't sow the seeds, what is the use even if the situations become favorable?"
A disciple of Buddha used to hoard some food that he begged for the day and ate the same the next day to avoid wasting time lost in begging. The other disciples of Buddha complained that despite being a monk, he was hoarding food. However, Buddha was aware of the disciples' good intentions. Still, Buddha called him and said, "Involvement in daily activities is not a wastage of time."
Buddha had a weakness. If anyone offered him alms, he could not reject them. Once, a poor man invited Buddha for lunch. To increase the odor, he added sandalwood paste to the meat. However, it converted into poison. The poor man was a devotee of Buddha and good at heart. Buddha was afflicted with dysentery on eating the same. Buddha understood that he would not live anymore. Buddha called his brother Anand and said, "In the future, it may be said that Buddha was poisoned by so-and-so person. However, the poor man gave me food only out of love. Therefore ensure that the poor man's name is not revealed." Thus Buddha possessed a large heart that could easily pardon even a person instrumental in his death.
Buddha's disciple Anand asked him, "You seem to be on deathbed. What needs to be done with your body after its death?" Buddha replied, "Every village should possess a burial ground. Even the village where this body would die will have the same. Burn this body in whichever village it dies. There is no need to leave any trace as to where this body has been burnt. Burn it wherever an ordinary man is burnt after his death. There is no need to have any memorial in my name." Thus Buddha did not even like the recognition of his very existence on this earth. He was 100% impersonal.
In the last moments of Buddha, Anand said, "In the entire world history, there wouldn't have been any other Mahatma as great as you are." Buddha disagreed with him. Instead, he said, "O Anand, how can you say this? Have you read the entire world history? Do you know the life history of all the Mahatmas in this world? If you are unaware, does it imply that there are no other Mahatmas in this world?"
When Anand started weeping in the last moments of Buddha, Buddha said, "O Anand, don't cry for Buddha. Cry for the state of nirvana Buddha has attained."
When Buddha was about to leave his mortal frame, a devotee approached him and asked about nirvana. Anand tried to restrict the devotee from reaching Buddha. However, Buddha instructed Anand to permit the devotee to put his question. Thus Buddha did not stop preaching till his last breath. Finally, the devotee asked Buddha, "Have you attained nirvana?" Buddha replied, "If one attains nirvana, there will be no ego left out to proclaim that he attained nirvana."